Hi guys, so if you've seen my other video, you'll know that I'm looking at getting people into wargaming nice and easily, nice and cheaply. I've produced a nice simple rulebook for such a purpose, but if you've never played any wargames before, you don't have any equipment, then where do you start? Now the book comes with some tokens that you can use at the back, but let's say you fancy playing with some terrain and you're not really sure where to begin. And if you're like me, you're on a bit of a budget, you certainly don't want to be going out and spending tons of money on creating some expensive, albeit beautiful, terrain. So where do you start? So first of all, the units. You can either print out the tokens which are in the back of the book, or you can do what I've done and create yourself some nice little wooden blocks. Now these are blocks which come from a mini tumbling tower set. So they're all roughly the same size. Some of them can be a bit rough around the edges when you get them. You just give them a nice like little sanding and a coat of paint. So you pick up some nice cheap paint from your hobby shop, and they make great counters to use on the boards. They're nice and tactile, they're lightweight. I think they look quite nice. They're not going to be as good as using miniatures, but the great thing about these is you can chuck them all in a bag, not have to worry about them getting damaged. They don't take up any room, exceptionally lightweight as well. And I think when you've got lots of them laid out on the table, it gives you that kind of historical battle map kind of aesthetic to games, which I really enjoy. So that's a nice easy way of getting some units done. The next thing you'll be thinking is, okay, I've got the units, what about terrain? As you can see here, I've got a nice piece of bright green felt. You can get this stuff really cheaply online. If you go places like eBay or Etsy, there's plenty of sellers all around the world that sell even pre-cut. So this is actually a 2 feet by 2 feet piece of felt. Very, very cheap, and it's the perfect size for games like Battle Block Sengoku. So this is a great way to start off. Alternatively, you can just use a piece of green cloth or something like that. And then using felt as well, you can create terrain. So here we've got a road which I've cut to about 1 centimeter wide. You can do all sorts of different shapes. The good thing about felt as well is that actually it's not perfect, but you can sort of form it into different shapes and things. You can make curved roads. You've got a thicker bit here for a river. So if you wanted to do a little bridge across a river, put the river down, bridge straight over the top. Perfect. Got a nice little bridge here that your units can cross. Forest, dark green hill, dark green kidney shape there. You can obviously cut these out to be as large or small as you like. This kind of felt, again, you can get it in a lot of hobby shops. They do sort of A4 sheets if you're in the UK or Europe, or you can go on places like eBay or Etsy and get sort of bigger sheets of that stuff sent out, and you can print out or you can cut out all sorts of different terrain then as well. And again, more felt, nice light green, provides a nice hill. So we've got hill, river, road, nice bit of woodland. And then if you want some rough ground, what I tend to do is cut out different shapes of kind of a beige type felt. So this here would represent farmland. So if you want to show sort of thick crops which might slow units down, then that is perfect. And then towns, you can use brown squares or grey. And yeah, I mean, I think it's great. It's cheap, it's affordable. It's a good way of getting some terrain that will all pack up into a small box along with the blocks, and you don't have to worry about it getting damaged. And you can even go a bit further with this stuff if you want. You can spray paint the felt, or what I would recommend is get a brush, go and get some cheap tester pot paint. You know, when you try out emulsion, go and buy some cheap tester pot paint in maybe a dark green. So if I was going to do it for this one, I would use maybe a dark green paint, and then just wipe off, like put it on a brush, wipe most of the paint off the brush, and then just very lightly drag it across the surface of the felt. And you'll find that it will pick out certain bits and give it a nice bit of texture. And you can do the same thing with the roads. I have a whole different set of terrain that I've made just for winter gaming, where I did just that. I took the roads, cut them all out, exactly the same color as this, and then I dipped my brush in some white paint, wiped most of it off, and just lightly dragged it across the roads, and it gives you a nice frosty road effect. And it's great for that sort of thing. You can also glue stuff to this, so if you wanted to have a bit more 3D sort of looks to your game, then what you can do is take a piece of, for example, if you had a piece of brown felt like this, you go and you buy some it's usually found with like model railroad scenery. You get those tufts of clump foliage. You can stick that straight onto the felt with a bit of hot glue. It's not going to be the most hard wearing piece of terrain, but if you're careful with it, it creates a good little woodland or piece of scrubland. You can mount this stuff to cardboard, make it a bit more tough and durable. But again, the whole point, as far as I'm concerned, of this sort of thing is it gets you some, I think, decent looking terrain for very little cost. I think it's great, and I think it's definitely worth trying out if you're new to wargaming, or if you, like me, you've got plenty of terrain anyway, but you wanted a bit more, maybe for a different scale. I'm getting into more sort of smaller scale wargaming now. Then felt terrain is a great way to start out, and then you can slowly add to it if you need to. Other things as well, dice, obviously. You can pick up sets of dice like this from online really cheaply, different colors. So you see here, I've bought dice to match the colors of my battle blocks armies, just so that it's a nice bit of theming. So we've got the red dice for these red units here, yellow for yellow, and then measuring sticks. So tape measures are really cheap. Most people have a tape measure or a ruler, or if you go, you can get offcuts or cheap doweling from DIY shops. This is a piece of circular doweling, which I have cut into a 3-inch length, and then just use a bit of painter's masking tape just to mark off the where the inch points are, and then you can paint like a two-tone scheme like I've done with these two. So all of this here, including the terrain, the 2 armies of blocks that I have and the dice, it all fits into a nice little box. It's nice and compact, and it's a great way to get into games. So hopefully you can try some of this out, and I hope you find some success with it. Hopefully you've got some nice ideas from this. And yeah, if you want to try it out, then let me know how it goes in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.